1 year later, Austinites only need to look back to last April's Pinnacle Fire to understand just how quickly those wildfires can spread. They can rip apart your neighborhood in a matter of seconds. In one short afternoon, that's what happened. 11 homes destroyed, another 10 damaged. To mark the occasion tomorrow, the Austin firefighters out there want to remind you about how to protect your home from wildfires. So joining us this morning, Austin Fire Department Lieutenant Josh Porche, joining us bright and early. I appreciate your time, really.
No, not a problem at all.
Thank you for being here. And we were just talking about how amazing that it is going to be. Tomorrow marks 1 year. I remember where I was. Where were you?
I was at home trying to enjoy a birthday party and preparing for the year, you know.
Right, and you had just come back from fighting some major wildfires in another part of Texas.
Yes, ma'am. We were out in Fort Davis for close to a week, dealing with the largest fire I'd ever seen, and most of the Texans had ever even experienced. So trying to recover from that and just wrapping my head around that actual event happening, and it was all a little still surreal.
Definitely surreal, because when we got the page, and you got that page too, saying, you know, there's a fire over at the Pinnacle Fire is what they were calling it, I thought, really? There are a lot of homes in that area.
Yeah. That was something that was really interesting in and around our area that was, I think, a little different than a lot of places around the country, that we'd have these fires or these blow-ups that would be in what would not be as typical, if you will, but it didn't really take much of a green space in and around Austin for these types of incidents to happen.
Right.
You know, I mean, if there's, especially last year, the way the fuels and everything were, they were just primed and ready to burn, and we were finding that we were having fires as small as an acre or two or a couple of acres that were threatening several homes.
And what was it about last year? Was it the severe drought that was affecting the wildfires?
Yeah, absolutely. There, you know, there's lots of factors that all kind of wrapped in together, and it was just continuous. It was just, you know, just continuous drought, continuous heat, continuous low humidities.
Right.
And then when the winds, those wind events that came in, that was just really the kind of the icing on the cake that brought it all together, that made the conditions just perfect.
Yeah, and we had people who lost their homes in the Pinnacle Fire, picking up pieces months and weeks later. It was really an example of how, you know, if you don't think this can happen in your neighborhood, it really can.
No, absolutely, and that's been our message since then, and even before those events for the last couple of years, is trying to teach folks to reduce the losses or potential losses from these events.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest programs that we've used is the Firewise program, where we've come out and we've tried to educate homeowners and communities on the simple things that they can do to prepare for those types of events.
Right, and if that's the thing that kind of was a wake-up call for a lot of people out there. So, Lieutenant, what are some of the things people waking up to this morning? What can they do around their house, especially with the recent rains? You know, vegetation is kind of growing everywhere now.
Oh yeah. You know, there's a lot of simple things. One of the biggest factors we saw were just cleaning out gutters.
Yeah.
You know, cleaning out gutters, looking underneath the wooden decks that we've got, and, you know, look under there and see what's accumulated over the years. Because all of those things, what I tell people is look around the yard and look for the small makings of campfires. You know, because what happens, these wildfire events, they throw up these embers and brands or sparks, and they've got to land somewhere, you know. And so, you know, you look around your yard and you find all these little piles, and those are essentially the way we teach our Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts how to build campfires.
That's
you know?
right.
So we got to, you know, get rid of those piles and those things around the yard.
Well, that seems pretty simple to do. So is it a matter of, Lieutenant, not if we're going to see something like this again, but when?
Sure, absolutely. I mean, we've had a lot of moisture, we've had a lot of rain, but the truth of the matter is our efforts have to continue. We've got to make this a way of life, and we've got to institutionalize these types of livings, because if we live in and around these green belts or these green spaces, we have to feel like there will be a fire there eventually.
Right.
You know, they were there as part of nature, and we've kind of taken them out of the equation, and so we've got to change our thinking and go back to that idea and become more fire adaptive.
Right.
As if any given moment there may be a fire and we can live. I mean, we can still survive those types of events. There can be a fire there, and we can still prepare our home to not ignite from those situations.
But it starts with preparing today.
Absolutely.
For a wildfire season that may be just like last year. We'll have to wait and see. Hopefully not. All right, Lieutenant, thank you for waking up with us early. We'll see you at that press conference that is scheduled soon when it comes to the Pinnacle Fire.
Absolutely.